Hello there.
Hey guys.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Red Web. I'm your host, Brad West, and this is our superhero talk show where we talk about superhero everything, culture, and stories, new comic books coming out, the impact of superheroes on society, and vice versa. Sometimes we get more political, a little bit deeper. Today, we're going to go on the funny side of things, and we're going to talk about superhero fashion. If you were here for our episode last time, we did the absolute worst superhero costume redesigns in all of superhero comic books. So if you haven't checked that out, please go and like and subscribe.
They were pretty bad.
They were pretty bad.
It was a hell of a time.
So make sure you go to like and subscribe. You can catch us on Kaiju Labs Media on YouTube, Facebook Watch. We are also on Twitch and a couple other platforms. Make sure you always check us every other Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Go to bradsredweb.com and pull down the Watch Now Live link and choose your platform. Today, we are following up more superhero fashions with the Hellfire Gala, which is an event coming up in Marvel Comics in which basically all of the superheroes, well, mostly X-Men superheroes, are going to be getting all dressed up and fancy-schmancy in the vein of the Met Gala. If you're not familiar with the Met Gala is Metropolitan Museum of Arts. They do a fundraiser every year where they do this super high fashion, and all the designers and artists donate to help to fund the museum and everything. But also it's a great time for celebrities to just get out there and just have fun with fashion. And there's everything from ultimate disasters to immaculate pieces of art that are just wearable art to just some fall flat. Mostly it's the guys in the tuxedos that fall flat. We actually all decided because it's step up your game, dudes, step up your game. So anyway, we're going to be talking about fashions today. And
introduce us.
Oh, and of course, there is Mr. Greg Burrow.
We are also here.
Partner in crime fighting and member who are here graciously at Dragons Are Comic and Fantasy, where they are setting us up for the day. And then my lovely co-host, Ms. Anastasia Anderson, who is our Duchess of Protocol. She will make sure to Google anything that we mess up or confuse or get forgot about. And anyway, so today we have a special guest since we are talking fashion. Now, as everybody knows, Anna and I have background in fashion design as well, but we have somebody who's got some legit street cred in fashion. And Greg, why don't you introduce our guest?
This is Samantha Placencia, Project Runway Season 13 contestant.
We got another one, guys.
Yeah, and she's absolutely amazing. She's done stuff with me before. She here at Dragon Slayer, we did a
cosplay symposium,
and we had a cosplay contest, and she was one of the judges.
I won second place. I was the one in the Union Jack, the British flag costume.
Really?
Yes.
That was
you?
Mine.
Yes.
No
yes.
way.
Yes, that was mine.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So anyway, so where can we find you? Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us where you can find some of your stuff?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on Instagram, just under my name, Samantha Placencia. I've had other usernames like Cutie1234. It's harder to find me like that now. So it's
right.
Go by my name, and I sell at a boutique downtown in Austin called Real Music, Real Fashion. Pretty cool. A lot of street style club wear clothes too. So just trying to stay active in the community. Even though I'm a full-time mom now too. It keeps me busy for sure.
Good.
That's awesome.
Well, we're glad to see. We're really interested to see what you think about some of these designs and stuff. So we're going to start off real quick, and Miss Anna is going to give you the setup for the story for why the comic books are doing this thing.
Okay, so the basics of what I've been told so far, which are going to branch out into multiple comics, is that the last time we saw the X-Men, they are on an independent island right now. Krakoa. That's it. And they have decided that they want to reintegrate back into human society. So what they're doing is there's a real word for what that is. The types of parties where you go to reintroduce yourself and be like, we are an independent nation. Here's all the trade things we can do. Here's all the things we can make.
It's mostly a diplomatic soiree.
And so Emma Frost, who runs the corporation, decided she wanted to put on a giant gala. So everybody's going to dress up. Everybody is going to represent the island. And then it's going to branch off to where eventually we're going to reintroduce new X-Men. It'll be exciting.
Yeah. So intrigue and stories are bound to come in. But of that, all of the superheroes are going to be showing up in their fancy dress.
Yes.
And some of them are better than others. Now, we went and looked through. There's like, oh my God, like dozens and dozens. You got to remember here, in the comic book, in the X-Men recently, they have basically learned how to resurrect themselves. So part of the story, without getting too much into it, is they have resurrected every single mutant that ever was. So they've got their own entire like nation of mutants, and they have like hundreds of mutants. So which means like dozens of costumes were designed. We had to weed through them to pick the ones that we thought were the most interesting, for better or for worse.
Yes.
There were some fights, actually.
There were
fights.
There were blows. Yeah. Well,
it's like, and there's a promo. It's like, and basically they came out with a little promo issue that was just looking at all the art and all the concept ideas for each of their designs. He hit it. There we go.
We have not picked this up yet. This is the guide to the Hellfire Gala.
Please do. It's actually
free,
pretty interesting.
And it's got a lot of the costumes and designs, and it even gives you, at the beginning, a little bit of a setup for the story, including an interview, a fictional interview with Emma Frost herself, explaining why she's doing what she's doing. So make sure you go ahead and pick this up at your local comic book shop. Dragon's Lair, do you have some copies left?
We still have some copies.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a couple of good comic book shops here in Austin that you can check out and find that, and you'll know where we are. And they're just now starting to put these comic books out. That's why we timed this now.
I think they've had 3 issues so far come out, because it's like all the different X-Men titles. I think Marauders has come out.
Yes.
And there's a couple others that have come out. So
it's like, I don't know. It's all going to accumulate into something real dramatic that I'm super excited for. But it's a big old crossover episode. And this is just showing all the different fashions they decided to do. And we decided we're going to critique.
Yeah, I want to say about this, though, that it's really refreshing, though, that they're actually trying to do fashion in comics like this. Because fashion has always had an aspect in superhero comics. I mean, we've had several superheroes who actually are fashion designers.
Yes.
And so it's wonderful that they're actually like paying tribute and actually bringing this forward. Finally.
Yeah. And one of these days we're gonna come back to the idea of fashion in comics. We've done a couple of episodes before, but we're gonna talk more about some of those characters. But today we're gonna go basically into the idea of the gala, following along with the Metropolitan Gala. And mostly what we deduced is the difference between fashion and costuming. Now, it's always really fun to see on Facebook when people are pulling up like all the really wackadoodle designs and like, oh my God, is this what they think that men are going to be wearing this season? And no, you can honestly tell when people don't understand the difference between avant-garde kind of, stuff. And that's mostly the idea of the human body as a canvas and fashion as an artistic expression, versus what's actually, wearable fashion. Well, a lot of the Met Gala is like that. It's an idea of an expression of a theme or the designer as an art piece. Now, sometimes it falls more into the realm of costuming. Now, normally the Metropolitan Gala would have a theme. They've gone from everything from Asian fashion influences to religion iconography. They even apparently at one point did a superhero theme that kind of fell flat, so we're going to kind of pass over that.
The religious iconography one was the best year.
That one, yeah, we're going to see a couple of ones
year.
pop up. But it's really interesting to see where the designers and the celebrities themselves really lean into the idea as a fashion. However, we're doing superheroes and X-Men, and so the theme here is the expression of that character. And so we're going to be judging based on how much of this is actually fashion and how much of it's just a costume, and it's like a guy who really doesn't know much about fashion who's designing a fashion design, whatever. We're also going to be judging on how much of it really expresses what the character is and how much of it is way off. And also just basically what's pleasing to the eye artistically. And that's a lot more subjective, honestly. But we're going to go through it, and we're going to have our guest give us her input on some of those too. And we're starting off with, what is our first part?
We're basically calling it the Meh Gala.
The Meh.
Because it's missed opportunities, excessive details, ruining a look, or relying on powers too much to get a look across.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that we found that we hated the most, was that the designer for some of these was using their superpowers. They were so focused on using their superpowers to maintain the costume. Like Anna, you were saying it was required.
It's an active power versus a passive power.
Yeah,
Like Mystique is a type of character who could change and then not have to actively think about it anymore, versus some people who
Like
have magical
Storm.
powers where you literally would have to keep it up.
They gave
entire
Storm a
time.
cape made out of clouds. It's like you would have to constantly be thinking about a cape made out of clouds to keep that going. So yeah, those are kinds of things. So yeah, we're like, these are the ones that aren't these aren't the worst, these aren't the best, these are the meh.
Well, these are the ones that, like, it could have been amazing, but they just either played it safe, or they put too much stuff on there, or they just, there was just different reasons why it didn't work for us.
So wasted potential. We're going to go with the ladies first. All right. On your screen, you see the design for Rogue. We're going to let you guys take that in.
How's your first reaction for this one?
Well, I mean, it's a little sassy. I mean, it's got a lot of attitude in it. I mean, it fits the character, I feel. It's a little
That it does.
Yeah, I mean, it fits the attitude perfectly. I mean, there's fun little, patterns. It's got the X emblem right there on the belt cover. It's pretty cool. I mean, was it one of my favorites? No. I mean, the collar's very just, I mean, what function does it do really? But I mean,
right, it's one of those, you're either gonna like it or you're gonna not like it. That's one of those design elements that is just like that.
And one of the things I'm going to put out right away is that Anna hates shoulder pads. So
I do have a grudge against shoulder pads,
just because it had shoulder pads. But I think Brad brought up some really cool ideas about the fact that she's a Southern belle. So they really, and the fact that she can't really touch people, because if she touches someone, she absorbs their soul.
My friend Angela made this. My friend Angela, who does cosplay with us, she made a really interesting point, and I love this idea. Like, yeah, this is nice, this is Rogue, but is this what she would wear to a ball? Is this what she would wear to a big event? And that to me is a big missed opportunity. But I like the idea of, like Angela said, her whole thing is she can't touch people, right? So why not? Why wouldn't she be wearing like a huge, dramatic skirt? That way she could go, bare armed for once, not worry about people touching her, because she's got this shield of like this hoop skirt and a train, and that would be something I would see Rogue wearing to this. Like, she's like, this is a missed opportunity. It's like, yeah, this actually looks great as a costume. This looks great as a superhero costume for Rogue. As a gala wear, no, I don't feel it.
Yeah, like they could have easily turned it's like, because that trend does have a precedent. It's like we had some of the fashions after Me Too started that were very much like, this is my space. Don't touch me.
Yeah. And I think that would have worked for Rogue.
And they could have kept everything up there because it's very her character. And we kind of had to debate this back and forth on whether this kind of character would wear a skirt. Why not?
Why not?
It's like, it would have a nice, like, more dramatic skirt.
There's precedence in the story really cool. Where her taking the advantage of dressing up.
Yeah.
She would dress up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go on to Storm, as I mentioned earlier. This is one that definitely depends on her powers being active. What is your first impression?
I mean, the vibe is cool. It's got a lot of different elements to it. It's not like it's something we've never seen before. I mean, it's pretty, if you were to envision Storm, obviously you'd see this major cloud and her being so like, voluminous. So, I mean, I don't see anything like out of the norm. It's got the shoulder pads once again. I don't know if that's like one of those empowering statements for when people are designing for that. I mean, they call it the strong shoulder for a reason. So maybe it's just one of those power little implications. But I mean, nothing really stands out major. It's as expected as a Storm would look.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that it's too literal.
Yes.
Not just that it's active powers. Like I could really have seen this. Like, I love the bodice. And I even like the neck treatment, and even the shoulders actually don't throw me. But if this would have been into a gown, and by the way, those thigh boots are just like overdone and out, right? Just, I don't know. But if that would have been a gown with like a lot of gather and ruffle in it, that had, like maybe an ombering of that smoky gray to the black, and then the gold trim around it, like ruffling through it, where it implied clouds around her and it was a gown, that would be just like jaw-dropping.
Well, also, we talked about this. I think that if they brought more of the African influence in, because she was a queen. She was, a goddess in Africa. So, I mean, she's had African wear that was a lot more elaborate than this and a lot more traditional that really, brought her heritage forward.
And that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that's
with
kind of
the
what I figured with the
neckline.
neckline one. Yeah,
That's what they're trying to do. The problem is that she is one of those characters. She's done better designs.
Yeah.
Like there are better pictures of her in these big, beautiful designs. And
Like
considering,
Trinity.
Mhm.
considering she is royalty, even though, we haven't crossed over into that yet in like modern stuff. Yeah, she's royalty. You can make her way more extravagant than this.
I mean, honestly, even her punk look look better.
Well,
than
I think that's what they're trying to do with this, like off to the side. I mean, that's a Grace Jones profile right there that they drew with those cheekbones, and I see what they were trying to do with it and get it more of the punk influence. But honestly, as a formal function, no, she should have had a headdress. This is where one of her headdresses would really have stood out, and that was a major ball drop to me.
Right.
So
Well,
again, we kind of feel missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity.
well, and we were discussing in the car, it's like now that people understand that there are more diverse hairstyles for Black folks than just your hair isn't an afro, your hair is down,
Or it's in braids, or it's been pressed.
like there are a lot of cool styles that they could have done with this, and this just kind of is like, haha, she's a clown. And it's you could do better.
Like I could have seen just the side braids instead of the
The thing
piece.
the thing I told you about the faux hawk, where you can put the braids up to the side and then just have it sitting down on one side,
right? Or even weaving, like when we weave the gold through the braids. That would have been fantastic.
There's ways to design your hair to make it look fancy, but not have to just be like, we're going to slap a
This
lightning
is
bolt.
Storm. This is
If we didn't have the detail on the neck piece, again, this would be a super suit.
Yeah.
Costume.
Like the first two just look like if they were going to redesign superhero costumes for them. They don't look like something you would wear to a ball.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to check out Kate Pride. For those of you that know, she's outgrown Kitty Pride.
That's fine.
So what do you think, Samantha?
I mean, it's very aged. It's very, I feel like it's kind of post-apocalyptic type vibes where, she's like one of those survivors / warriors. I mean, I've never been into that style. I mean, it fits it well, I think.
It's it's a very divisive. You're either gonna really like it or really don't like it.
Well, one of the things that we all decided, this was over accessorized. Some of the elements are just unnecessary. The chains on the shoulder, not necessary. The gold clasps on the arm, I mean, those could have been done in the red and toned it down. The asymmetry is nice. I love the implied X. I love when they hide elements inside of things. It's so much nicer than the literal X. We got this implied X across the bodice to the waist and everything. The literal X is unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially on the boots. Like on the boots, they just ruined the boots for me. But there's stuff about this to like. I think they just got carried away. Sometimes, again, I've always been one of those less is more kind of designers. So simplicity is bliss, and this is a little bit too complicated for my taste.
Right. There's a lot of bits they could have just.
Are those little knives? Or just
they're trying to do the hairpin thing.
hairpin chopstick thing?
There's a lot of the dress itself looks cool, but it's
the dress itself looks cool.
Most of my design experience actually comes from more of the styling aspect, and it's
the styling,
the problem is you've got the gloves. She's very covered in this, and I'm like, even if you just took the boots down to
Take the
an
boots
ankle
down.
boot,
They do not need to go up that high. You're right.
Yeah,
the boots do not need to be there either.
It's like there's just a lot going on, and it's like this is one of those. The dress is
cute.
The dress is the money shot. That's the cool thing you want to look at. You don't necessarily need everything.
I mean, and that's one of the things that ruins a runway. Like especially when you get red carpet stuff and everything. We were talking about over accessorizing. A statement piece is fine, but once you've got everything, it's too much.
Yeah.
And the really funny thing is, so the funny thing about Kitty Pryde, if y'all don't know this, we're talking about fashion disasters. When Kitty Pryde first appeared on the X-Men, one of the running jokes was her horrible costumes. Like, it took her, if you go back and read the original appearances of Kitty Pryde, before she took the name Shadowcat, Shadowcat was the first time that actually stuck. She kept coming up with these dumb names and dumb costumes. Just Google Kitty Pryde Sprite. When she was calling herself Sprite. That was actually the worst of it. But that was one of the things, because she was the first adolescent. They actually had wanted to do the New Mutants a lot earlier and start bringing back teenage mutants to the X-Men stories. But the managing editors was like, they weren't ready for that yet. So they just had the one, Kitty Pryde. She was the first of an archetype that was eventually followed up with Jubilee and others, but she was the first one. She was supposed to be like, the young people's on the comic books, and they made it really painful for her growing pains into getting a superhero costume. So
okay, now we're into the men.
Here's the men. Okay,
this one was a point of contention for us.
Yeah.
So what'd you think, Samantha?
Nightcrawler. Well, I mean, I don't know. This might be my least favorite of the list. Doesn't really have anything much like that. There's no surprise to it. I mean, it's it's very typical. He kind of reminds me of like you've seen Little Mermaid. What is it, Eric the Prince? He's kind of like the Dark Prince of Little Mermaid.
The Dark Prince of Little Mermaid.
Well, one of the running things for the character of Nightcrawler is his love of Errol Flynn and swashbuckling stuff. So there's been variations of pirate Nightcrawler throughout the years. This is, again, they're just taking that too literally. They're thinking costume, not fashion.
Well, and there's a way to make a fancy pirate costume, because it's like if you've seen historical depictions of pirates, the ones who want to be fancy look fancy.
And also, his feet have to be killing him in that.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got weird feet. They're not normal feet.
So boots without, well, the boots are just wrong, especially for the length of the coat. And if you're going to go for a long coat, give it some drama. I don't understand this slim fit for that. It's I don't know.
Well, and
it's like a hobble dress for a dude.
Partial capes are weird for me.
Yeah, the partial cape I don't think is necessary either. I mean, I know some of us didn't like the epaulets and some of us did. I do think that if it would have been, and I'm a big fan of asymmetry. Like I was talking about Kitty Pryde, asymmetry has its place. Not here.
Yeah, I'm like, if you want to commit to a cape, commit to a cape.
Do the cape, do the epaulets, or neither of them, and you'll be fine.
Right? It's like, do you have a way, like, just from a designer standpoint, that you would, like, make this one look a little better? Because, this one, I'm like, we could have done more with it.
Yeah.
I totally agree as far as, like, if you're going to commit to, like, a cape, why not just make the cape and add the drama? Like, that's what capes are for, right? They're not to be kind of like a halfway type thing, or even like the mini capelets. I'm like, what's the point in them? Like, capelets are meant, or capes in general are meant to have drama. Even a long coat, like he barely looks like he can move. So it's like, adding those just like, I mean, drama expectations, especially like, we're talking about fashion and the Met Gala. Like, it's the time to really just like go crazy.
Let loose.
Right. It's like you can do big elements and it would still look great.
And also more of the color, the white from his costume. And that could carry over past the ascot. Like, I mean, the rope design on the front could be white, or even if you did a full cape, do that scrolling design in a white, something to make it pop. Just as a pop.
It's like, it's a good transition. Like, you need that moment of surprise where if he walks in, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. So the next one is Magneto.
Definitely Magneto, I think, has like a little bit of a like, boom, something's happening here.
There's way too much going on here.
I like this one.
I like this one a lot. So I think it fits his character perfect. He's always like, I'm the best of the best. Like, very strong-willed. This really shows all those elements, and he's ready for the red carpet. Like, when I saw this, I was like, okay, he's looking for attention, and this is going to get it. I mean, it's a little extravagant, but I mean, hey, that's what Yeah, that's what we're wanting. So
I think that's what people are like. I think that's what some of us were coming to is like maybe tone it down a little.
But even
Because I mean, like he's got a whole bunch of medals on his jacket, and he's never been a part of a military or anything.
No, he
right?
has. I disagree with this. Part of his shtick was surviving the Holocaust and reappropriation of it. He has done many things where he's got. I mean, he even went by the name Magnus for a while, and he had like a straight up military look.
right.
This is not a new thing for him.
Well, and that's also an age difference thing. Like
Mhm.
dudes that age, even if they were never in the military, like military look was a big thing. It's like so it's like the shape of it's fine. I actually really enjoyed this one, but all the extra bits and bobs, like that's part of what the the fancier military look looks like, because you have a lot of stuff and
Now-
you have a lot of accolades to stick on your clothes.
Given, I'd have to see it in context because this is definitely a carpet entrance look. But he would check his hat and his cape and the cane at the door. I mean, that would just be,
Yeah.
And so I'd like to see it without those elements. Personally, I love the white tails. I wore white tails to my prom, so I'm like feeling the white tails here. And I'm like, it's giving me some flashbacks. So yeah.
Well, and given his other counterpart, like we're gonna have one
Oh yeah.
that looks real bad.
Just put this in your brain. Now,
Yeah, and remember, these are not the worst of. These are like ones we thought
These
could
were-
improve.
Now, on a fun side note, let's go over to Chadwick Boseman. We feel like maybe this was influenced. We were talking about the religious iconography. This is Chadwick like totally nailing it.
This
with
was
this, like-
such a joy.
Pope suit. I'm like, and you can kind of see where they're getting some of the influence for Magneto, even with those little red touches like that he's got in there with the tassels. Magneto had the florets on it, and I think this is like an inspiration. So
Right, and this one I think was a McQueen look. It's like
was it?
I think so. It's like, and it's one of those like, at least in those cases, like he's known for extravagant stuff like this.
Right. I thought it was a Louis Vuitton.
I could see why you would think that, but I thought this one was a McQueen.
Okay.
It's like, because I remember, like, of all the things they talked about when this year of the Met Gala came out, this was one of them.
Mm-hmm. But it's great.
So the next one is North Star.
All right. So this is our last. Oh yeah.
Very different for North Star, knowing he comes from those fitted little spandex, that whole
Mhm.
look for him. I don't know. I kind of think it's cool when they give this like little mysterious vibes for guys. I'm kind of getting like more of a Lestat kind of feel from him, but I
Mhm.
kind of like it.
It's like they had to explain the character for me to be like, what
Like,
is
why?
going on?
Yeah.
I mean, this one, he's got a lot of extra things that it's hard for me to even kind of make out since it is all in black.
That was kind of our thing. It's like is it all patent leather? Is it all shiny, including the cape?
Maybe it's latex. Who knows? He'll have to oil up to get in that thing.
Right.
Well, probably. That's why there's vents on the side. I don't know. I think they were trying to be sexy with it, but then they put all these layers on top of it, and they just killed the sexy vibe.
Yeah.
Well, and some of them to me are kind of rendering issues. Like
That was one of the problems we came into is we had to look for some of them in the comic books to see if they were any better, because some of these I don't think the artists were quite up to the task of.
yeah, like this one looks a little better when you see it when you see it directly in the comics, but a lot of what's not doing him justice is the fact that they took part of the cape and just covered half of the outfit. So
Yeah.
I'm like, no, wait, I need to see this because it's one of those, you see the first impression, you're like, oh, okay, whatever. And then you find out later, oh no, there's more stuff that you didn't like.
Okay, so the next segment, the Fashion Disaster Gala, the worst of the gala.
These are all the ones that,
These
we
are
were
the-
like, wait.
These are the hated its.
Yeah. So Captain Britain, what'd you think?
It's very, I don't know. I see Sailor Moon when I see this. That was my first thought.
My first thought.
I didn't really see any excitement to it. It had the same concept as, Captain Britain in general, just the X. I don't know. This probably was one of my least favorites.
I mean, would you wear this to a gala?
Yeah.
No.
That's really the question, is a lot of them you have to sit back and be like, wait, this is for like a fashion gala.
Yeah, like it's kind of like one of those things where, Lady Gaga came in that entrance with Brandon Maxwell and she like layered off pieces, and then she ended up like this at the end. I mean, it's like you don't want to start with that. You want to be a little bit more and then end off.
Right.
You would end off in maybe something like that. You don't want it to be the showstopper.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, they actually could have, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, they could have put a really cool skirt on her, like a good extravagant something, and that could have been a thing she stripped off later.
Mm-hmm. Another layer, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think we saw a lot of bishop sleeves while we were going through some of this stuff too.
That's another thing that, like, I like bishop sleeves, but I'm also one of those, you're gonna like them or you're not.
I just don't feel them here. I don't know. And the hair is, it's like this weird matronly hairstyle with this punk makeup. I don't understand.
Well, and is the little X's above her head of like a power manifestation thing,
I'm assuming, yeah. I'm assuming.
I'm not as experienced with that character. So
yes, she does. She has the psychic knives that look pink. So yeah, I'm assuming those are some kind of psychic butterflies or something.
Yeah, this is another one of those instances of, you're doing a thing where in order for this to work, she would basically have to actively use her powers like constantly.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no fun in that, because at least it's like, I get it, not all the costumes are comfortable, but
yeah, this was definitely costumey.
This looks like after a while it's like once that goes away, what's left?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so next up is Mirage.
Okay, this one,
there was a lot happening. There was a lot to unpack for this one.
I don't know. I felt like this one was probably one of my, like, the worst of the guys as far as, like, just missed the mark completely. Like, I don't
completely. It's like it's where we come down to the whole idea of that they're not fashion designers. They're costume designers who aren't thinking like fashion. And this is somebody going, oh well, she was a Valkyrie and she's of Native American, she's Cherokee heritage. We're gonna like smush those together and make sure we get all of that in there. And it's like this is a victim of trying too hard.
Well, and it's also a kind of unspoken thing talking about POC fashion, especially talking about fashions that we're not super experienced with.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, if you look up indigenous fashion, there's ways for you to incorporate indigenous fashion, and they took it too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like they took it too literal. And if you looked up like what Chinese high fashion looks like, or what indigenous high fashion looks like, you can find ideas that aren't just going to look like, this looks like a costume.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's too far on the other side for me. Like if someone was on an actual runway with this, I'd be like, do you know any indigenous people?
Right? That's what it comes down to. Yeah, this was a real letdown. This is a letdown for this character in all forms and stuff. I don't even know how I would fix this. Like usually I have an opinion on where I would go from here, but like I don't even have anything to start with. You know what I mean? Other than like I'm not opposed to the colors. You know? I like those little splashes of teal with the gold and white.
Yeah, I feel like too, maybe, I mean, they missed the mark, like you said earlier about, you can look up, the fashion for it. You'll see a lot of vibrant colors, textures, prints. It's like this kind of just lays flat. I mean, it seems like they have the feathers there, so maybe just really building up on that texture aspect and like mixing prints and really just getting that like vibrant and like culture out of it. It was just like you said, they kind of just took it too literal.
Yeah.
This could also be a victim of rendering as well, though, because like aside from the hemline, I could see that skirt having the feathers and that being like some beading, some beading worked into that in a texture flow. That would be nice.
Well, and it also just occurred to me, all the ones that we were kind of like, with the women, they don't commit to making it very long. Mm-hmm. Like this one, if you flicked off the cape and like really leaned into the skirt and like made it bigger and extravagant. Like we've had some Met Gala images where it's just like a bunch of feathers.
Mhm.
It's like you could do that.
And the clunky, and oh god, we have so many problems with shoes too. We were just like, we saw some like great menswear in this, and then we get down and it's like, and
They're
then
bad
there's the
shoes.
shoes. And then what is with these clunky shoes? Like she would be wearing like a simple sandal with a strap and boom, you're done. But the shoes, why? Are we trudging through the ice in the middle of the gala? Or the deserts? Or what? I don't get these shoes.
Yeah.
So the next one's going to be really interesting because it's 3 different costumes. Emma Frost, and she's supposed to be like the highest of the high fashion for this gala, and I think she doesn't get there. I mean, some of it's actually a little vulgar, actually.
She has better fashion.
She does. She's had a lot of different fashion.
So we're going to get your opinion on these guys first,
Yeah.
Samantha.
Well, first,
Yeah.
I think we need to tell her that the one in the middle,
Oh, yes. Okay, so
because there are better pictures of this, but we didn't want to
So
put them up.
when I first saw this center
Yeah.
design, I liked it. I had this idea. It was like some kind of like of a trailing beaded kind of thing that had this waterfall effect. Maybe kind of looks almost like it kind of reminds me of Christmas tree tinsel. But I thought it was like a draped, and then it was fashion tape down for the side exposure. Turns out it is literally a beaded curtain, and she's completely naked underneath it. So there's pictures in the comic where like
It's just beads.
even her boobs are poking through it. Like it's just imagine it just strands of beads hanging around. That's all it is.
It's
strands
wild.
of beads hanging from her neck.
Wow. Well,
Yeah. So before you make a decision on that one, know that part
Yeah, because that was one I liked
until we saw it in other pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I mean, I love the drama with it, but like hearing what you said, I mean, this looks like something that like Kylie Jenner wore, like something
Yeah.
she would
Yeah.
probably wear just like all nude, or one of the Hadids, like just underneath. It seems like all of these little pieces I have seen already from one of those like high fashion models that just want to show a lot of skin type thing.
Yeah. And if you can do it, do it. If you like I said, if the body's a canvas,
She's banging, of
dress
course.
to the body. And I love these weird little like third finger gloves, and I like the shoes on that one.
Mhm.
I even like the hair on that one.
It's like the gloves is one of those, that's a fashion that I remember sneaking in for a little bit and then it just kind of disappeared.
Yes.
But it's cute. It's cute.
Well, and it's one of those, they rely really hard on the fact that they're like, technically she's not naked, she has diamond armor, and I'm like, that doesn't count.
Yeah, the Wookiee rule does not apply here.
It's like, but it's one of those like, before I even noticed, I was like, I like this look, until it's like, this is a good, like, the first one's her walking in, the second one would probably be the like first hour or something, like her schmoozing, and then the one in the middle would be, it's the last hour, we're cooling down.
Now, we do have some other friends who are into fashion designers that had commented on this last one over here to the side with the weird dragging cape.
It's hooked onto her actual wrist.
Yeah, it's hooked onto her wrist. It's weird. It's like it's a permanent dragging cape, but I don't know. I like the top piece, sort of. Again, I feel like it needed something other than that fur thing. But
Yeah.
so that's Emma Frost. That's the big letdown. She's supposed to be the one who's like heading up this entire thing, and
Yeah. It's like, what do you
she's
think?
had a lot better fashion in the comics.
she's had so much better fashion. I mean, even stuff with I'm sorry, a keyhole in fur. How practical is that? Honestly,
That's not easy to pull off.
it's like at least my cleavage isn't sweaty.
Yeah.
So, hey.
That is one of those, we ranted about the middle one. It's like, what do you think of the other two?
Right.
Now we did try and we did assume that the headpiece is Elizabeth Taylor inspired from many years back, and when she had like the really cool with the white and the silver and everything. So that's interesting. We're going to the dudes now. Let's go see what the bad dude costumes are. Oh, there's
Yeah, that's what we thought would have
that's
been a good
another one
improvement.
that's really that.
This is what we pictured Emma Frost in. This would have been really amazing if Emma Frost was in this.
Yeah.
Headdress.
I mean, that's got great lines. It's got great accessories. This is from what was this model? This actress?
No, I can't believe
Frank's
I
gonna be mad at me because I didn't write those notes down. But
Give him a chin.
yes, Gemma Chan.
Yeah, Gemma Chan.
Thank you. Oh my God, Greg got it. Greg remembered. But yes, she looks amazing, and the lines, the silhouette, everything. It's just, and it's like I'm saying,
and it looks like diamonds. So I mean, with her diamond skin, it would just, yeah.
So all right, moving on to the dudes. Okay.
So what do you think, Samantha?
I feel like I've seen this before in an old school, like 80s aquatic movie. Like he's like something about it that reminds me of like an old, movie, like one of those bad films that you watch, and it's like that's like the goblin in it.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's like the opposite of everything Magneto was.
Yes. I'm like, what?
Right.
I think my biggest beef with this right now is the rendering, and this is a problem that I have with superhero. This falls totally into costume, not fashion. Is the entire time I was doing cosplay commissions, there were so many times that I had to sit and put on my professional face and explain to somebody that the physics in the world of drawn people is not the same as us in the human mundane world, okay? These things would not, like, this is so vague with this rendering. It's like, what is actually even going on here? You know, did somebody just like melt candle wax of different colors onto his leg and blob it on or something? It's like, you know, I don't understand. Maybe he was wearing something metal and it just melted on his foot, you know?
And also, I'm assuming that helmet is metal.
I know, right?
And so it's going to be really heavy. Even if it's plastic, it's going to be heavy after a while.
It's like, hey, I'm Professor X. I'm not paralyzed anymore. I can walk around, but I'm not averse to breaking my neck in the name of fashion.
Oh, now that I remember that it's part of the island thing, that explains it. Because the first thing I thought, because I'm behind, I was sitting there like, why is he standing up?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
It's like, and it's also another follow-up of, because this looks like, to me, this is one that would look totally different if he was sitting in a wheelchair. Yeah. It's like, but this looks like this looks more adaptive.
It's the like, Mr. T jewelry that's just ruining it for me.
It's like, but him standing up, it kind of,
I got my gold chain.
It's like, yeah, because I think they're trying to do the helmet from the I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
Cerebro, yeah, it's he's got a portable Cerebro.
But
that's what it is.
But without the context of like why, it's like, yeah, why? Like you line him up. Like I see that they're trying to mirror him with Magneto. Okay, let's go to next. But I don't get it.
Let's go to next Sunspot because we got to get to the good ones.
Oh, okay.
There's some cool ones. Yeah, this one's
I'm not too familiar with Sunspot, but I mean, he looks like he just got. Maybe he had too much sun. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. The problem with Robert DeCosca as a character is that he's rich. Okay.
He's a multimillionaire.
He's a multimillionaire. He's a Brazilian millionaire, and he's one of the few like Black Latino mixed characters in comic books. Okay. And nothing about this says fashion forward rich kid from Brazil.
Yeah, he was in New Mutants, wasn't he?
He was in New Mutants.
But this is a character.
He's the
preppy one that had the tight jeans and the polos with the pop collars. So he would dress. He would not only dress fashionable, he would definitely dress up for a gala.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. He was all about the attention in New Mutants.
Yeah. And this is even as a superhero costume. This is what the what.
This is another one of those. They're relying on his powers. This is too literal.
Yeah.
It's like, because honestly, this with enough like retooling, like if someone else went through it, this would look cool as a suit. Mm-hmm. Like
now, Brad's about to become this because the next one we're going to watch is Iceman.
All right, tell us what you think first before I start, because this
one was a hard one.
A hard one for what, though? I mean, what's the hard part about it? I mean,
I need your objective opinion about it as a design, because then I'm going to tell you why it doesn't fit the character.
I mean, he's got like an ice corset. I don't know. It's just like one of those things where I don't really see much of a any design elements. It's just like ice blocks everywhere, like, and they put it in a shape of butterfly wings. I mean, I don't understand.
Exactly. So let's get past the fact that as a design, it just sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and the only thing on here that even remotely makes sense is like the ski goggles.
But even that, once you realize that they has the ski goggles, I'm like, that's kind of silly.
But as a gay man and one of the few gay characters in comics, this is offensive. There's no, I mean, it's borderline homophobic. This is so anger inducing. And it's this idea that, oh, we have this gay character and I'm not a gay person, but I want to make him look gay. So I'm going to put him in these like weird heels with this corset dress thing. Now let's forget that this particular character is not at all a drag queen or a cross-dresser or effeminate gay. He's he just happens to be gay. But we're going to make him look like a nice drag queen anyway.
This is a diversity flop.
This is a diversity flop, hardcore. Like me and like one of my other friends who looked at it, and I'm like, he said everything I was saying. I'm like, so I know I'm justified in saying this. I hate this. It's offensive. It makes me angry. That's how bad this was. Of everything on this thing, this is the one I have the strongest feelings about. If anybody at home disagrees, please feel free to message me so I can tell you why you're wrong. Because this is awful. Okay?
Right.
Awful on every level.
Well, and it has the elements we don't really like. It's like they were like, oh, we're not going to actually give him clothes. We're just going to make him use his powers to make clothes. Yeah. And it's like in the element we keep like reminding people, like it took me a minute of going through it to realize, like, these are kids. Like a lot of these are kids
that were going to dress up.
These were kids that were people before they were their powers.
And he has had so many iconic, fashionably trendy costumes over the years. One of his things was like he actually had some really cool outfits. Like he wore costumes and he dressed up for his superpowers. He would wear something cool.
Yeah.
Playing where intended. So
okay, yeah, so now that we've had the worst, we're gonna go to the Hellfire Gala Part 4.
Hellfire Gala,
which is the best of. The first one is Frenzy.
I loved this one.
Frenzy's cool. I love this costume.
So, what do you think, Samantha?
This one's
really refreshing to see Frenzy kind of get a little bit more glammed up and sexier. I know she's like that bad, tough, like that.
Yes,
like that
she's always tough around.
Yeah. So I thought this was really, really cool. Like I said, it showed her in a little bit more softer, sexy side. I love it. I love it. It's so cool.
And this is kind of what we're saying, that they've missed so many opportunities on everything else. This is an event to dress up. They all should be doing this. Any of the characters that are spotlighted should be at least this level of, let's do something cool. I love that it keeps her original color scheme, but it doesn't necessarily rely on her powers, or they're not trying so hard to show her powers. The X elements are not as, blatant in your face.
Not as silly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Some of them it's just like, oh great, even Storm had an X medallion on the neck thing. I'm like, why? Just why? That was not necessary.
Yeah, well, and it's like the good thing about highlighting a lot of these, it's like, one, objectively, if you told a bunch of teenagers, hey, we're going to go to the Met Gala, you get to dress up, they'd all be ecstatic. It's like, but also like a lot of the wins with these, like there are specific people that I could see in this. Mm-hmm. And this one's very much like Rihanna could pull this off.
Rihanna. Well, yeah, this is definitely a Rihanna thing. It's playing, like she's always really good at playing to her skin tone. Like this blue is immaculate of the makeup. I love the blue lipstick even. Yes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's the gold is understated. It's not like a brassy gold. It's nice. I like it.
Yeah, this one was a fun one. I loved this one.
I could see this in real life as a piece.
Yeah, some of these could go like directly to like, this is a fashion I could see happen next year.
Right. Next up is Jubilee.
Yeah.
So we loved this because unlike past ones where we said that they took influences from their culture and then they got it wrong, this one is a perfect example of Chinese
high fashion.
High fashion.
Mhm.
This is a
And we loved it. We loved the little details, like the wrist corsage
yes.
element there, the cuff there.
I'm not feeling the shoes personally, but
She should have worn Chinese sandals or
sandals or something. Yeah, something a little bit less. I don't know. Yellow. The yellow.
Well, something less European. I
Yes, something less European. What do you think?
But that's also the thing, is that they kept on messing up on the shoes. Like, there were some that like actually barefoot, and then others
like,
that
why?
were like. Then there were others that were just tennis shoes.
Sneak.
Like,
well, no, there was. We'll get to him in a minute because that's actually
right in me.
Yeah.
We actually
anyway,
talked
Samantha,
about it.
what
do you think?
I mean, I thought it was super chic, real elegant, you know, sophisticated. This is funny because I've actually designed something similar, but in a street style look with like paint, kind of, you know, that whole floral. I have to find it and share it with you. This is like, I did this such a long time ago, but I mean, I love that it still followed, you know, those pink, that you know, the main color for her pink. Yeah, the shoes, I feel like it could have, you know, they could have done a different shoe, but I thought it was really sleek. I love the hair. I love that, you know, just it's real clean in the exaggerated sleeve. It's really nice.
Yeah, I could see this dress. Like I said, one of our other designer friends is like, I want to steal that. I want to do something different, but I want to kind of like, because the off the shoulder and the asymmetry. Like I said, I love a good. If you do it right, asymmetry is like the way to go, and this is really nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And now let's do Mystique. I know you liked this one.
That one was
This was my favorite.
My favorite. So when I first started designing, I was so into avant-garde and just extravagant pieces. I think I have like an old tryout video for Project Runway, and they thought it was too much, so I had to scale back. But it was similar to like extravagant posture collars and feathers and drama and harnesses mixed with, you know, feminine aspects. So for this to be Mystique, this was by far my favorite. Like, I could not stop looking at it. It just, you know,
validation.
yeah, it gives you the, like, when you see it, man, I just get like goosebumps when I saw it. I was like, it was so cool and dramatic, and that was the winning piece for me, like the showstopper, you know.
Awesome.
And the thing is even this rendering doesn't do it justice. This I can see in real life with like full on. One of our friends, she did. Oh, I can't remember what the stupid creature was from it's a video game, but she did like these hand dyed wings that were just like amazing, and she went like this full ombering of the wings, hand dyed all the way down with the feathers, and I could see this really just in a really well done hand dyed ombered feather all the way down to the bottom. Even, you know, I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking at with the dress, if it's more of a hobble dress or if I'm just not seeing the fullness of it because, you know, of the angle. But there's so many ways that this could go.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, I'm a sucker for a good dramatic something or some other. So to have the thing like framing her face and going down the side, I'm like, that would be a fun one to make.
And the hair and the accessories, just enough accessories without, like, you know, weighing it down.
And they committed to one thing, which helps. Like, this wouldn't have worked if they picked something else to do, like just made the dress more simple. Mm-hmm. Like, they picked the feathers all throughout. It fits the texture of like her character visually.
Mm-hmm.
And
her colors with the white, you know, homage to the white dress that she normally would wear. I mean, they could have just as easily thrown some skulls or something on there and ruined it, you know.
What? I would have loved skulls. The skull belt.
You ever see with the Smurfs? And they're like, oh my God, Papa, look at her. Okay, wait. Anyway. So that we all like this is the winner for the women is Mystique for sure. She's showing up, Emma, at her own party. So yeah, we're gonna go to the dudes. We're gonna go over here. Now this one you can't see as much because we couldn't find as high a resolution as we wanted.
But the jacket was amazing.
The jacket's amazing. What do you think?
I mean, I'm not too familiar with Cinch, but like, I don't know. I get like 90s pimp vibe from this. I mean, the print is cool. It wouldn't be like my initial go-to when I did kind of do research on him. I mean, yeah, you see the guys dressed up in like a skinny pant boot and like the hat and stuff, but I mean, for me, it wasn't one of my favorites. I felt like they could have did a little bit more with him, considering the character. Like I said, when I did research it, But I know you guys said you loved it, but I mean, I wasn't too big of a fan.
We feel this is very modern. This is very in trend. This is something that somebody would probably buy. I like that they put the one accent piece, the coat is their drama piece, and then they made everything else. They kept it black, but they didn't just make it plain black. The texture, like obviously patent leather boots, patent leather cummerbund, maybe it's a wide belt on it, but it contrasts with the matte black pants, and I think. Obviously we just had probably a Windsor satin trim on the collar and everything.
Right.
And even without the hat, it would work.
Well, and it's like, I mean, I had two minds of this. Like, I'm 80% sure I've seen this on somebody before. Or if not, like, this is, you could probably
like maybe
name.
Pharrell Williams would have worn something like this. Or you named a couple other ones I think I can see in this.
This one, it's like, my weird grudge with the Met is that there are a lot of dudes that go to the Met and they're just like, I'm just going to wear a regular suit.
Tuxedo, yeah.
Like, this is I'm so used to people looking kind of and then you have some people who want to go dramatic. Like, this is a good one if you still want to, you're not I'm going to go full Billy Porter type. Like, this one's sleek looking, and I really do just like the coat. Like, objectively, I'm like, the coat's neat.
All right. Next up, Sunfire.
Sunfire. All right. Yes, he's definitely bringing his Japanese heritage into it without overpowering it. I think the face, the mask is just like amazing. I love the trim on it. I would wear this coat. The pants are great. I mean, it really does kind of embody the character. Do you like it?
I do. This kind of reminded me, like, my husband does a lot of gaming. This kind of reminds me of like the costuming that they're doing in like these new like Mortal Kombat games and like it's more extravagant and stuff. So I mean, this was pretty cool. Like, I could see it like that. It fits the heritage and everything. The mask was my favorite. Like I said, when I started designing, I did a lot of like mask and headdresses. So I mean, I'm always a fan of a cool mask. So this was pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's like, and just, styling dudes is hard for some reason.
And it's not a plain suit.
Yeah, and I might not have put the X on the waist piece, but other than that, I love it.
Considering there were a lot of dudes in this Hellfire Gala thing they were hot disasters. Like, we got to these last three and we're like, oh, these are kind of nice.
All right. And then this next one is my personal favorite of the guys. I just love this. I love Manifold's look.
He looks like he's like in New York Fashion Week. Like, he looks pretty awesome, right? Like, he's got that cool guy, like, street style. Like, I'm here for it. The shoes, the little details on the pants. I like it. It's really cool.
Yeah. I like the hidden X. Again, I don't like the literal, and then paying homage to his Aboriginal roots and then having like the body paint. I guarantee if you open that coat up, it's like the outline of an X in there, but you got that implication of it. His power signature, how his powers work, so it's got that swirling kind of thing going in there without it being like literal, is really very, I could totally see. I love the colors of it. I love this outfit.
I want to see under the jacket too.
I know. Yeah. I do. I really want to see under the jacket.
It's like, this one, this is another one that it's like, if you're going to do a diverse set of characters, you got to really commit.
And it's like we were talking.
Like, this one was fine.
We were talking athletic, like really well done athletic shoes. We were watching the new Coming to America, and like some of those outfits that he had were just like with the right shoes. It doesn't have to be like a dress shoes. Like higher end athletic shoes can be really well done if they're done, and then this is one of those examples.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I think we managed to get through all of the really cool ones in our designs. And we really enjoyed having you here with us, Samantha. Hopefully we can have you again. Well, I'd like to do more fashion stuff in the future, maybe when the whole world opens back up and there actually is a fashion week again. So we're going to do that. Anything else you wanted to throw in for the costumes or ideas or thoughts?
No, I had fun, and thank you for including me in this. I was so happy, Greg, when you reached out. So please, include me in more stuff. I love to see different.
That's dangerous. We'll include you in way too much.
We would love.
We love you. So.
Thank you. You were so much fun. And once again, everybody, make sure you're following the Red Web on Kaiju Labs Media on Facebook, and check us here every other Tuesday. I think, what are we doing next episode? Oh, we're doing Spycraft. We're going to get prepared for Black Widow, and we're going to go over superheroes Spycraft and talk about the history of superheroes, of spies and superhero comic books.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, again, for Samantha, you can always reach her on Instagram.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks again. Make sure you drop us a line, and we will see you next time. This has been the Red Web.
Bye, guys. Bye.